Welcome to another episode of Piecing It Together, the podcast where we take a look at a new movie and try to figure out what movies inspired it. And today on the show, we are talking about Strange Darling, a new movie from writer-director JT Mollner, who is from Las Vegas, so it was really exciting to see a movie from a Vegas-based filmmaker who's getting so much buzz right now, and deserved buzz, because I love this movie, and we had a great time talking about it. Joining me is M.N. Miller. We get into a lot of great puzzle pieces for this one, so that is coming up here in a second. Before we get to it, I do want to remind you, as always, to make sure you are subscribed to Piecing It Together wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow us on social media at PiecingPod, and don't forget to join our Facebook group, Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces, where we continue the conversation about all the movies we talk about here on the show. Also, don't forget to check out piecingpod.com, our website. We are in the process of announcing a bunch more live shows here in Las Vegas, so check it out. There's going to be at least one or two a month for the next 3 months, and all the details are over on piecingpod.com. So check that out. We really hope that you will come out to some of these shows, watch some movies with us, get in the conversation, throw some puzzle pieces out there, win some prizes. It'll be a fun time. So check it out. And with that said, let's get into this conversation about Strange Darling. All right, joining us for an online recording. It's been a while since he's been on one of these and not on our live shows, but we've got M.N. Miller. How's it going, man?
Yeah, I sit by the phone waiting for a call from David Rosen. It never comes, but, I'm grateful to come on today. You're very popular. Podcast star, as people have been saying. Am I right?
Sure. I don't know what that is, but yeah,
but
sure.
You handle popularity.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
It's always fun having you on the live ones, and great to have you back on one of these. And it's also great to be talking about a movie from someone from Vegas, which is super exciting with Strange Darling. That's why I definitely wanted to have somebody from Vegas as my guest for this one. I know that you loved this movie as much as I did.
Oh, I mean, at first it's really hard to put into words what I just watched when you first watched this movie. And then I kept thinking about it more and more as the week went on. It's just not a, I mean, it's a great horror movie on its own, but this movie to me is so much more than I expected. And I think it had a lasting impact on me, especially the third act of the movie. I assume we're talking spoilers here? Because
yes, we're going to spoil away. Yeah, I feel like you have to, especially even getting into puzzle pieces. Like we're going to have to spoil away because otherwise there's just too many twists and turns to get into. You can't talk about chapter 3 and not chapter 2, not chapter 6, and not really get into stuff. So
yeah. I really admire most people not spoiling this movie because I have not seen a lot of spoilers out there.
Yeah,
so I appreciate people doing that.
Yeah, and this episode is going to come out while the movie's still in theaters, so hopefully people will have already seen it, but hopefully they hit pause right now if they haven't and go watch it. But with that said, let's start getting into some puzzle pieces. What do you got for your first one?
Well, the opening is a pretty armrest grabbing sequence from the very beginning with the lady and the demon. That's her character name, the lady, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
So to me, that reminded me of Steven Spielberg's Duel with the chase. Obviously, you see the demon, the male character, right away. You see inside the car, and you see that glorious Tom Selleck mustache, of any serial killer would wear, apparently.
Yeah, sure.
So basically, that's what my first take from it, because I think that really set the tone for the entire movie. Even though they take 6 different chapters and shake it up and play with the narrative, it really, definitely grabs you and won't let go.
Yeah, it's an exercise in that kind of a sustained, keeping you on the edge of your seat from beginning to end, and using the whole multiple chapters, splitting everything up and moving it all around and switching it up in such an interesting and unique way that nonlinear storytelling can really just be gimmicky at times. But in a movie like this, where it's so well thought out, it absolutely becomes a part of the DNA of the film. Duel, of course, going straight ahead, beginning to end. But I'm going to actually go with an obvious one to kick it off, just because we got to talk about that whole nonlinear storytelling. I'm going with some Tarantino with Pulp Fiction here.
That's one of mine. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you could also go Kill Bill. You could also go, I think there's others that he's done that, do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely Pulp Fiction, though, I think is the first that comes to mind as far as something that actually uses nonlinear storytelling for a reason and that actually heightens everything as it's being told that way. I know, like with Kill Bill, like for example, there's talk of like the whole bloody affair where they put it all in order and everything like that. And I never really understood. I never sought that out because I never really understood why you would want to watch that. It's so clearly optimized for this mixed up perspective to kind of keep you on your toes. Like that's why the movie is told that way. Pulp Fiction does it so perfectly, and I do think Strange Darling it's a masterclass in using nonlinear storytelling.
Well, that's a great point. Like the Memento Blu-ray back in the
Hmm.
day, you could like change it up where it goes in order. Why would you want to do that?
Right,
Um,
right.
so that's the one I just thought of right now. Nolan's Memento. That could be another
Sure.
non-linear way because how
Yeah.
it builds to the end. But Mueller's script is so it's really so simple though. I remember
Hmm.
watching Bill Hader on the Conan podcast talking about how like a story is just so it can be so simple to hook the viewer in some choices, even though it's non-linear in 6 chapters. It's really not that complicated, and it all comes
Yeah.
together so well at the end. And just looking at it, like taking such a simple story and changing the order around and giving little hints, and like it's really subverting the audience expectations of who the real killer is. Spoiler,
Yeah.
going forward, and it's just such a brilliant movie from that standpoint of the nonlinear storytelling.
Absolutely. Well, you squeeze Memento in there, so let's give that one to you as a puzzle piece. I'll throw on top here and start getting into some other stuff. I'm going to go with Blue Rune, which is a movie I thought of when I first saw the trailer for this, and I think ultimately it's a very different movie, but this is almost like a vibes only puzzle piece. This is Jeremy Saulnier's maybe best movie. I mean, it's either that or Green Room. Although we do have a new Jeremy Saulnier movie finally this weekend at the time that we're recording this, but as far as that just sustained thriller where you're just on the edge of your seat the whole time, just that confidence and, JT Mollner not really, having a lot out there as far as, as a filmmaker. And
All
the
Gods
same
and
for,
Angels is the other one. I guess
right,
it's a
right.
sophomore film. It's incredible.
Exactly. And Saulnier had only done, was it Murder Party? We actually covered it on Awesome Movie, or it just happened to show up as a first time feature. Even though not the best, but anyway, that's not the point. But yeah, Blue Ruin though, coming out of the gate with that second movie, that's just so freaking intense and just never lets up. And it's also a story of revenge. Also leads characters like in a kind of cat and mouse chase. So like there definitely are a lot of similarities between the two movies, even if there's a lot of differences as well. But certainly just that intensity, I think, is like the main thing that to me kind of tied these two movies together.
Yeah, you're so right about the script too. It's everything like the chase, trying to like how they layered back the flashbacks to how they got there in the first place, and that
Hmm.
scene where she's in the bathroom pulling out the stun gun, and you just sit there and wonder like where is JT Mollner taking us?
Hmm.
Um, and like he wrote himself in a corner, and a lot of people make that mistake and do some cliched way to get out of it. But he really owns it because
Mm.
some people's complaints are like, oh, they how this person would never do this, they would get caught. Well, that's the point at the end. She's getting caught. She's hit her last. She's in a corner. She's fighting her way out, and then
Yeah.
she starts killing people. People see her face. It just like it all comes together so well at the end, where it's more profound than I would expect.
Yeah, absolutely. There was that AMA with Osgood Perkins just recently about long legs, and he was just kind of writing off all these questions with like, "Well, it's a movie, and like this is such like a movie, and it takes this particular art form and just says, I'm gonna have some fun with this, and I think you're right. It does at one point. It feels like he's gonna be in a corner, but then just kind of weasels his way out and then ends up in an even better place from there. But yeah, absolutely. What do you got for your next piece?
Oh, well, I think we should talk more about her performance, Willa
Hmm.
Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
One of my favorites from one of my favorite shows, Reacher, and other things she has done, obviously. But I think Monster,
Hmm.
because it's one like Monster and movies like Hard Candy. They really we talk about subvert like your expectations of what you're watching, and most people think a serial killer is a man going around hunting women, and in this case. She plays the lady, the electric lady, as
Yeah.
it's coined later, where we find out the demon's actually not the killer, it's her, and she's
Hmm.
protecting him. And while Monster is not, it's obviously not that type of mystery, but that type of film, even though based on a true story, yeah, in the movie world, like female serial killers aren't that prevalent. And for this movie, you watch the commercials, and it's like, to me, it's so obvious after watching the movie. It's like The Sixth Sense. Like, obviously, this person is dead after watching it. Why didn't I think
Oh,
about this?
spoilers. Come on, man. What are we doing
Oh,
here?
Sixth Sense, 20 years ago.
Just kidding.
It's like what's that one line from Nate Bargatze? He like, we all thought his wife just wasn't talking to him for a year. That was more believable. This is more believable that he is chasing her, and he's the serial killer.
Yeah.
But just like that performance from Charlize Theron, this is like a star-making role, a performance by Willa Fitzgerald. Because by that third act, she mentions that one line. I think it was like, all I see is dolls. To me, coming from like, if you read history through like serial killers and people, like they're coming from some type of trauma they suffered, and you can just like sense some type of like deeper meaning behind what is behind these killings. I would love to see a prequel of this movie to find out more about this character, because unfortunately we didn't get to, by the end where she passes away, it seems we don't get to really get the full picture of why she came to be the electric lady. But sometimes that's great. Like, you don't need, like, Prisoners. Do they find him in the hole? Like, sometimes you don't need. I like an ambiguous ending sometimes.
Sure.
But I would love to see a prequel. But I think Monster
No.
definitely probably a big influence, puzzle piece for this movie.
I think so too. And yeah, I actually haven't seen Reacher, so this was my introduction to her. And what an introduction. You know what I mean? But
she's a lot of other stuff. She's a great actress, and this is just
yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That
Fantastic.
scene at the end, I mean, that long shot in the truck.
Yeah.
Oh,
Incredible. Absolutely. I will say real quick about Monster, because that was one that I was thinking about as well.
You were that was
starting this with the prologue text. This is based on the real final killings of an American serial killer. Like, obviously it's not true, but like if it was true, like it was probably Eileen Wuornos.
I think yeah. There was some article that came out where they're very loose. It's probably not. Yeah,
I don't think so. But you know what? Speaking of that final shot, I'm actually going to jump to that for a piece here. I was thinking of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre with that final shot, just the flipped version of it. Instead of it being the final girl who's just survived this whole ordeal, it's the actual killer who is now bleeding out and dying in this car, just hysterical. And just that look on her face, it just reminded me a lot of that ending sequence in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, that's a great point. That's because it's really a cherry on top of the whole of movies like that, like having a conclusion. I like how, well, I won't mention this movie because the movie Trap, how there's this ending at the end where you can interpret. I like how this rewards the audience for sticking through such a grueling and exciting and suspenseful ride, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's go to another one. What do you got next?
So Giovanni Ribisi is the very good cinematographer now, apparently, for this movie, and
just jumped right in, both feet. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what possessed him. He wanted to do this. Maybe just read the script, and I really get a lot of I don't know. I would say like the one Tarantino movie I thought of too was Death Proof. Just some of the raw shots from the chase and like the 35 millimeter. I just really think that's what is a big influence for me. It seemed like a puzzle piece. That's another Tarantino movie I think works well with that. I'm not sure what you think. But I was also impressed. It seemed like it went from like those grainy, like the color palette, very vulnerable and emotional, to like the flashbacks, very like precise and pristine and polished. And it had like a totally different feel for me from the flashbacks compared to the chase.
Absolutely, and I think he just does an incredible job here. I don't know if you saw Giovanni Ribisi made a Letterboxd list of he called it
Yeah.
films that inspired Strange Darling, which I normally do not look at when filmmakers do stuff like that before recording an episode. But I happened to see it, and I feel like it was more so films that inspired his cinematography. I noticed some of the things on there, like The Devils, Blue Velvet, Dead Ringers.
The
I
color
wouldn't
palette, I
really
think they talked about. I read something like
exact
that. Yeah, that's exactly.
exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I think it's a really interesting list, and this movie looks amazing. So I would, all the movies on that list that I haven't seen, I definitely would love to see because this movie looks amazing. So to see what he's pulling from would be great. I will go with Gone Girl for my next puzzle piece, David Fincher. I think, first of all, just a thriller that keeps you guessing. You really just don't know anything
Hmm.
from any moment to the next, who's good, who's bad, who did what, why anybody did what they did until it's revealed as things come along. And just really just flipping your expectations at every turn, really. And also playing with, in a very funny way, playing with like, this is in a post Me Too movement, and we don't want to judge this woman for her sexuality and think, oh, she's could potentially be bad in this situation, but then at the same time, oh, that's where we go. And so it really kind of like double turns on yourself on what your expectations might be of this person.
No, I think the great Gene Siskel once said, like, film critics tend to shy away from sexuality. And
Mm,
this is one of the things where Sharon Stone, I had this on my list as well. The use of sexuality to their advantage at this
mhm,
point, like, the for the hunt and the prey, and that's
mhm,
what she does in this movie. I think that's a great point. Like, without Sharon Stone and Basic Instinct, Catherine
mhm.
or Charlize Theron in Monster, I don't know if you can write Electric Lady with Willa Fitzgerald in this role. Or, I mean, we probably could, but I think those are great influences and puzzle pieces for movies like this that subvert our own, probably, I don't know, sexist expectations of
Right, right.
happy. Like, I don't know. It's just one of those things where it just totally blew me away.
Yeah.
I kind of like. I'm not. I'll do some a geek bragging bravado. I kind of like. I thought something might be going on because it was so odd when they placed that scene where he's in the kitchen and Ed Begley Jr. is like on the ground bleeding and he's dead. Like, it just seemed
Mhm,
weird how they placed it right there. Like, there has to be some type of twist coming. I thought maybe that
mhm.
could be part of it, but when I still saw it, I couldn't believe it. He actually pulled it off without being cheesy or cliche or some type of trope, I guess.
to that to that point, to go on a quick little tangent, when those characters were introduced at first, the Barbara Hershey and Ed Begley Jr., they're putting together this incredible looking breakfast, which
Hmm.
is like Heart Attack City. Did you think that there was going to be some twist that they are like this is their last day on Earth and like they're like in on whatever the hell is going on? We still at that point don't know what's going on, but maybe they're in on whatever it is and they're like just enjoying their last day.
And we see some of those things too that happen where, like, it takes this twist where, oh, they're the parents of the
Mm-hmm.
the demon guy, and I thought maybe like it would turn out to where, like, maybe they're the crazy killers, and
Mm-hmm.
then the demon and the electric lady team up to escape or something.
Right.
But yeah, it was just like that scene was so out of, I would say out of place, but it's so unique in like type of horror film genre, I
Sure.
guess. But like, I was watching like Big Night and Chef. I'm thinking of that's a puzzle piece, but during this scene, like this like decadent, this calorie filled meal they're like cooking for each other. It's one of those
Oh,
things where now you're like, yeah, like it could be like the last day on Earth, they're preparing for that, and
yeah.
making one great meal. But
Oh, that looks so good. I also thought of Twister for that meal. But so my last puzzle piece actually, I wanted to go with No Country for Old Men, the Coen
wow, that's a
brothers.
great one.
So I have a specific reason for it. I mean, there is a little bit of the playing with the expectations and the form, and like there's a lot of things like that that I think you can go to, and of course, like the revenge movie, of course, too. But like one thing that I noticed about this movie is that all of the older people kind of like they see things coming ahead of time, and like they know not to trust this woman. They know that something bad is happening. And I kept thinking of like, Tommy Lee Jones, or the guy at the convenience store. Like they all know like this is just a bad situation. Everything is just so bad at this point. And that's something that I saw in these adult characters in this movie, the older characters in this movie. And I think that's a really interesting point of view that JT Mollner is putting into this movie, which it's kind of like, the youth have kind of, well, look at this shit that they've gotten themselves into. But the old people just want to, just want to stay away and mind their own business and get away from those crazy people,
I don't know, this goes off topic, but do you think it was a commentary on cancel culture at all?
Right.
Especially
Possibly.
The two cops, the two police officers.
I love that whole sequence. And, that's the kind of thing you just don't see very often in movies.
It's a brave choice because people would cancel him for maybe making that point, but
exactly. And I think it's something that needs to be explored more. You know what I mean? And I think it's great that the way that they do it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the two the policeman and policewoman, of course, the guy from Breaking Bad, I can't remember his name right now. But, he's like, wants to follow protocol, and she's like, no. Then at the end, she gets let go. She runs away, hands over the gun, and, he's the victim of it. And then you have the two people in the motel. It's weird how she makes her choices, who lives and who survives.
Yeah.
But, I think it's a commentary on political correctness. Sometimes people think you go too far. That's not what I'm saying. I think that's what the director's saying.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Right on. Well, do you got any others that you want to bring up?
Well, I think the obvious one we didn't bring up was Paddington.
Yeah. Well,
I'm kidding. No. Every time I have to do this every time I talk to you because everyone loves Paddington so much, and I have to.
Of course. Well, everybody loves Paddington, and everybody who has seen it loves Strange Darling. So,
I think the third one we're going to find out it's a serial killer, and that's what's going to happen.
Maybe they'll do a non-linear Paddington. That would be fun.
Yeah, the whole time there's bodies in the house.
Let's do it. All right, I'll read down the list of puzzle pieces here. We'll get into some closing thoughts. We talked about Duel, Pulp Fiction, and a bunch of other Tarantino. Memento, Blue Ruin, Monster, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Death Proof, Gone Girl, Basic Instinct, No Country for Old Men, and of course Paddington. But
Big Night.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Please add that. There we go.
For the food. Yeah, absolutely. We'll throw that on the list. So, any closing thoughts? Anything that you wanted to mention that we didn't quite get to while getting through puzzle pieces here?
I just think there's always a movie every summer that comes out I want people to remember by the end of the year. And I really think this is one of the best scripts of the year. It's the best thriller of the year. I think Will Fitzgerald is one of the... I think it's been probably a weak year for movies, I think, the first 8 months. I know we're getting into the festival, the big award season. But I really hope people remember Will Fitzgerald's performance in this movie. I think it's, one of the year's best, and I think it's incredible.
I'm with you. This is, it's probably the only movie since we did our midway top 10 that's in my top 10 at this point. So I love this movie. I also want to shout out Z Berg, the songs within the soundtrack. Really, really great music here. It's just really great stuff all around. And Giovanni Ribisi, we talked about him, but incredible, first foray into this world, really interesting. And Kyle Gallner, I don't think we mentioned him by name, but he always popping up in stuff and putting in really great work. One of the great current young character actors. He's really awesome.
Scream King, as people are calling him now.
Sure, absolutely. Always excited to see him.
It's one of those roles where you don't really forget about him, but it doesn't at the very beginning, he has the type of role that people are going to remember forever. Then it transitions to Will Fitzgerald's character. But it's just as important because it sets the tone for the entire film.
Absolutely. Well, M.N. Miller, is there another movie you watched recently you'd like to recommend to our listeners?
Geez, what did I watch lately? I'm watching The Thicket right now. It's a Tubi original. I'm not even kidding. Peter Dinklage, and it's actually a really great Western. It's coming out Friday. My review for Fanboy will be up Thursday.
Okay.
I was a huge fan of Rings of Power season 2.
Okay.
A lot of people aren't, but I think it was really great. And what about you? What have you seen lately?
Oh, what have I seen lately? I feel like everything I've been watching lately has been
Jackpot. You love Jackpot.
I still haven't gotten to it. I really want to though. No, everything has been like watches of old stuff for playing catch up. Looking at my letterbox, Strange Darling is the last new movie I've watched. Actually, I really like Skincare. I don't think I'll get a chance to do an episode on it. So
I thought it was a bit Hitchcockian. I really
hmm
love that movie. The tone,
yeah,
especially Pullman's performance. He really
yeah,
does
he's
on
so
that
good.
role. And of course, Elizabeth Banks and that whole
Yeah,
scene with Nathan Fillion in the car
yeah,
was pretty fantastic. That was
absolutely.
great.
Elizabeth Banks was like born to do that movie. It's like
Oh
just
yeah, she
perfect
definitely
for
was.
her.
Do you watch
Yeah, it's
Blink
just
twice?
perfect. Yeah. We recorded an episode. It's not out yet. It will be out soon. Keep an eye out, everybody. But yeah, I liked it. I liked it. Didn't love it, but I liked it.
I thought it was
So
pretty good. I really
yeah,
enjoyed it. I think it was
yeah.
pretty good. Yeah.
Right on, right on. Well, hey, M. Miller, tell people where they can find you and your writing and everything you're up to.
Well, I'm on Twitter at MN Miller Film Rev. I'm on Instagram, MN Miller Film Review. I'm on Facebook, MN Miller Film Review. Most of my writing you can find at Fandom Wire, writing for them right now, Geek Vibes Nation, In Session Film. But most of my work you can find at Ready Steady Cut. But for now, Fandom Wire, Geek Vibe Nation, and In Session Film. Also part of Critics'
Right,
Choice and Rotten Tomatoes, so find my work there as well.
right on, right on. Well, hey, thanks so much for doing the show. We will get you back again sometime soon.
David, don't make promises, okay? I sit by my phone, I wait and wait and wait, and I die inside. But thank you for having me out today.
Liam, don't embarrass yourself.
As if you could do anything useful.
You're going to fail. Give up before you're found.
Don't even bother trying. You know you aren't competent enough.
Not in the way, Liam.
Liam, trust me. You could save lives.
That's more important than whatever you're trying to make this about.
You can do this, Liam. You're in the right place.
We can do this. We can do this. I'm ready.
Valence is a serialized urban fantasy audio drama by Hug House Productions about magic, data privacy, queerness, found family, and revolution. Find more at valencepod.com. We hope to see you soon in New Candler. And remember, protect your magic.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that conversation. Thank you to MN Miller for joining me for that one. And thank you to all of you for listening. If you're enjoying piecing it together, make sure you're subscribed. We got a lot of episodes on the way. There's a bunch that's already been recorded, that's in the can, ready to go. And if you're subscribed, you'll find out about them as soon as they come out. You could also follow us on social media at Piecing Pod. Also, maybe drop us a little 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, Pocket Cast, wherever it is that you're listening. It would be very helpful. Make sure more people check out the show. Also, if you thought of any puzzle pieces for this movie or any of the other movies we've covered lately, send them in. I love hearing from people. So get in touch. Send in your puzzle pieces. You can do that on social media. Also in our Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces group. There's also a contact form on the piecingpod.com website. I'd love to hear from you guys. So send in your puzzle pieces. And hey, maybe we'll also get you on a show one day. We got a lot of movies to cover, so could definitely happen. Get in touch. I also want to let you know about our Patreon, the Produced by David Rosen Patreon, where I post bonus and advanced content from Piecing It Together, Awesome Movie Year, and from my music career. Lots of great stuff over there. So check that out. It is patreon.com/bydavidrosen. I really appreciate you guys all being out there just listening. But if you want to support the show, you can also sign up for the Patreon, and that is also very much appreciated. So I'm going to close this out with a piece of music like I always do. And you know what? I'm going to play a song about my strange darling, one of my cats, Trudy. This is a song from the upcoming third, the Pup Pups album. It's called Litter and Glitter. She is a strange one, that Trudy. So I hope you enjoy this track. The album will be out probably in December, maybe a little sooner, but we'll see. But it's almost done. But yeah, this is my comedy album of songs about my pets. I have so much dark music that would fit so much better with Strange Darling, but why not? You can give a little plug. She's so cute. Yeah, let's play this one. And we'll be back with more Piecing It Together real soon.
She sits and stares, looking like a model with a beautiful hair. She's looking at me and nothing more. Sparkles all around her on the floor. She leaves a trail of glitter and glitter everywhere that she goes. Oh yes, I love that girl. She's so beautiful, she's so pretty. I'm so pretty. She's so pretty. I'm so pretty. She leaves a trail of glitter and glitter everywhere that she goes. Oh yeah, I love that girl. She's so beautiful, she's so pretty. I'm so pretty. She's so pretty. I'm so pretty. Just look at those eyes as they're looking at me. She's a beautiful girl, she's so pretty. Like an angel or a devil, something in between. I try to grab her, but she runs and screams. She leaves a trail of glitter and glitter everywhere that she goes. Oh yes, I love that girl. She's so beautiful, she's so pretty. I'm so pretty. She's so pretty. I'm so pretty. She leaves a trail of glitter and glitter everywhere that she goes. Oh yeah, I love that girl. She's so beautiful, she's so pretty. I'm so pretty. She's so pretty. I'm so pretty. She leaves a trail of glitter and glitter everywhere that she goes. Oh yes, I love that girl. She's so beautiful, she's so pretty. I'm so pretty. She's so pretty. I'm so pretty. I leave a trail of glitter and glitter everywhere that I go. And mommy and daddy say I'm just so beautiful and so funny and pretty and special and better than my sisters because they're stupid and I'm perfect and everybody loves me because I'm pretty.
An All Points West production, produced by David Rosen in Las Vegas.